Welcome back to Sonic Speed Reading. Issue 73 kicks off with yet another character yelling at Clutch. This time, Jewel confronts the opossum, saying that without her permission, Clutch has flooded the ship with his security detail and reactivated the shuttle arsenal all over one single troublemaker. That troublemaker being the Phantom Rider. While she is busy, she's not blind. Clutch says that he simply didn't want to bother her. All of this is simply a precautionary measure, with no real plans on using them. But Jewel is not satisfied, saying that she is revoking his administrative authority immediately. They can discuss more of it later, but she will handle things from here. But Clutch, not worried about it at all, reminds her that it's his security force on the ship, and they are going to listen only to him. So they will not be escorting him off the ship. They will not be escorting anybody anywhere without his permission. He still thinly veils some sense of innocence, saying it's all for the good of the sweepstakes, but obviously Jewel is well aware that he is a bit of a skis. She then goes to the two friends she can trust, that being Tangle and Whisper. They have to find a way to stop Clutch, and on top of that, they still have to deal with the Phantom Rider, but Tangle excitedly says that the Phantom Rider is Sonic, and now things are kind of falling into place. Clutch is clearly some sort of a bad guy here. Sonic is trying to figure out what he's up to. So now the plan is to get in contact with the Hedgehog so they can confirm that Clutch is the real baddie here, and hopefully the Hedgehog and all their friends can get this sorted out. But we now turn our attention to the final event of the Clean Sweepstakes, flying high over Central City. But before the event kicks off, Knight has some words to read from Clean Sweep's CEO, which reads, Clean Sweep Incorporated and the Restoration are aware that some of you have raised concerns over the repeated appearances of the Phantom Rider at our sweepstakes. We're taking this situation very seriously. Your security and enjoyment are our highest priority. We thank you for your continued patronage and solemnly pledge to bring this miscreant to justice. Obviously, trying their best to keep all the attention on to the Phantom Rider. And I love in the crowd, even though they're cheering, there's one person there holding up a little heart for the Phantom Rider. I'm going to assume that's a fan character of some kind. The different teams formulate some plans here. Tangle and Whisper are still debating on whether or not they should tell Duo and Lanolin about the real identity of the Phantom Rider. The Babylon Rogues are also discussing Sonic, planning to confront him to get some answers. But Kit and Surge, uncharacteristically, quietly, simply look on. And lastly, we turn our attention to Sonic, looking up at the main shuttle, saying, Tails, Amy, whatever you're up to, you better get it done soon. And now it's time to put on a show as the race kicks off. This one is a free fall drop straight towards Central City. So basically a giant game of chicken. These guys are crazy with their events. I love it. Sonic immediately causes quite the stir-up, which sets Jet off. But before he can do anything, Surge boosts out from the rest of the pack to attack Sonic directly. She is not interested in any kind of sass or banter, none of that. She is here for a fight. Sonic dodges and she swivels around on her hover bike, which looks a lot like the iconic thing that Shadow did in Sonic 3, you know, where he's all airborne and then he turns his bike around and kicks off. You know what I'm talking about. She launches back towards Sonic, who dodges and then is confronted by the Diamond Cutters and the Babylon Rogues, with Lanolin saying she will hit him straight on with her Wispin if he doesn't come quietly. And Sonic, of course, says sorry, but he can't do that. The race has ground to a halt while everyone waits to see what the Phantom will do. Lanolin lets off an attack just as Surge launches hers, latching on to the Phantom Rider's extreme gear while narrowly missing being shot in the head by Whisper. While Surge holds him steady, Lanolin goes in for another hit, only to be stopped by Tangle, saying she has to stop, otherwise she'll hit Sonic. But before she can properly react to that information, the Rogues attack, only to be held off by Kit. And in response, Tangle grabs Surge with her tail, but unfortunately that wasn't a very smart move, as Surge grabs the tail and electrocutes the lemur. This of course ticks off Sonic, saying that Surge's fight is with him, and the two charge at each other again with a ridiculous this reference to Sonic Adventure 2 and their odd localization choices, and it looks like Sonic gets a clean hit on the Tenric. But as he lands back on the extreme gear, looking at the falling Surge, even though she's damaged, she has a smirk on her face, revealing that she has damaged the gauntlet. And of course that means the nanosuit falls apart and Sonic is exposed to the rest of the world. Sonic asks what's her game, and Surge says no game, just following orders. With an insane declaration, happy now boss, she has technically destroyed the Phantom Rider just as he asked. And this of course ticks off Clutch. So while all of that chaos is happening outside, we still have Amy, Tails, and Belle running for their lives within the shuttle. But the two are distracted and sent the wrong way by Dawn, who has somehow made his way onto the shuttle. We quickly get through introductions, and now all parties of this story are all on the same page with information outside of Sonic and, who's behind everything. While none of the heroes have seen the Chaotix, who, if you don't recall, Dawn is looking for, Belle knows only of one place that would be appropriate to lock somebody up on the shuttle. So they make their way to the engine level. And after a cute little bit of interaction between these characters, they open a giant door and they come across the Chaotix in a cage. While they were indeed caught, they were at least productive, with Vector producing a USB drive, packed full of the dirty dealings of Clean Sweep Incorporated. But as they bust the locks and make their way to freedom, they're confronted by Rough, Tumble, the security guards, and of course, Clutch himself. And that is where issue 73 ends. Issue 74 picks up right where the last one left off, with the Chaotix, Dawn, Tails, and Amy confronted by Clutch, his security detail, and Rough and Tumble. A fight quickly breaks out, but while all of that's happening, Tails takes Belle up to the panel to get the main security door open, but they're shot at by Clutch. Thankfully, it looks like everything is going the hero's way as they begin to wipe the floor with the opossum. Unfortunately, Clutch quickly takes Charmy as a hostage, demanding that the heroes make their way over to another cell and hand over the data drive. But as Vector feigns defeat, Espio throws a ninja star, getting Charmy loose, who then takes the drive to fly it away from the battle scene. Clutch and his security team quickly give chase, but orders Rough and Tumble to stay behind, declaring them to be dead weight. And as the door shuts, Clutch shoots the control panel, trapping everybody inside. On the control deck of the shuttle, we soon find out that the race has come to a halt and people are starting to panic. But all that is interrupted as Charmy makes his way with the data drive. He hands it off to Knight and Clutch orders them to stop. But Knight is quick to remind him that he's not an employee of the opossum. He plugs in the drive as the actual restoration members hold the opossum steady. Jewel returns to the scene with the actual restoration members and their Wispins, and another fight breaks out between Clean Sweep security and the restoration. That was a nice little reminder that the restoration was once the poor man's freedom fighters, the resistance, so they can actually put up a fight. And while all of that is happening, Charmy announces to the world that there has been some technical difficulties, but they are being sorted out. And Knight then lays out all of the terrible things that Clean Sweep has been up to, exposing Clutch and everything he's been behind this entire time, including poisoning soil, falsifying records, participating in extortion, violently silencing whistleblowers, just basic things you could pull out from the daily news. For real, we put up with a lot of insane crap. There's a lot of disgusting things happening in our world. Anyway, as Knight declares to the world who's behind all of this, the opossum shoves the owl aside, saying that the smear campaign can't stop him. And of course, we have that lovely trope of the villain accidentally announcing to the world everything he's been up to. The world now knows Clutch the opossum and the real deal behind Clean Sweep Incorporated. The crime lord only really works when operating from the shadows, but he has nowhere left to slink to. He smashes a control panel and then tries to override the command of the shuttle, only to have that taken away from him and self-destruction initiated. Jewel, recovering from the fight, has overridden his administration access and set the shuttle to explode. In a rage, Clutch then forces the shuttle downwards towards Central City and then blasts away the controls, declaring that if he can't win, well, well, they know how it goes. Now, with a giant shuttle descending down towards the city, this grabs the attention of all the riders below them. The rogues don't know what's going on, but Surge immediately calls out what's happening. Clutch got called out, so he's taking the ship down with him, but she's not really pressed on it. And while all that's happening, Duo attempts to sneak off, but he's dragged back into the fold by Kit. Remember, Surge and Kit know exactly who Duo is, and they're not letting him slink off this time. This catches Lanolin off guard, asking where Duo was, and Surge, backing it up, asking, yeah, where were you? But Mimic, even under pressure, is a master manipulator, apologizing, saying that he found out something about Tangle and Whisper, and he wasn't sure if he could trust them. He says that they knew who the Phantom Rider was and wouldn't tell them. This, of course, turns Lanolin's attention back to Tangle and Whisper, furious that they protected a dangerous criminal, lied to her, even though they're supposed to be a team. Tangle says that she was just trying to protect Sonic, saying he probably had a good reason, but she's cut off by Lanolin saying that Sonic needs to face justice. Of course, Surge points out that in all of this, Sonic has left. Lanolin chases after him, with Tangle trying to say none of this makes sense. And Sonic himself could not care less about any of this drama, telling Lanolin they can do whatever they want to him later, but all that matters is right now, people are in danger, and that's where he is needed, so that is where he's going. So, with priorities in order, everybody races up towards the shuttle to attempt to save the day, including Duo, after given a choice by Surge, saying he can try his luck with the Diamond Cutters and Clutch up there, or down here with Surge and Kit. It is kind of awesome seeing Surge this relaxed and in control as everything is falling apart around her. They could have killed Duo right there, as Kit points out, but Surge reminds him that they're following his plan, and they need to keep their eyes on the prize, and Clutch is next. And that is where issue 74 ends. Now, it's been a heck of a journey so far, and I do have a lot of thoughts on the arc as it is, but we are going to wait until we wrap up issue 75 because there are some fun things in there I really want to discuss, and I want to take a look back at this arc as a whole, see if it's changed my mind about the issues I've had with IDW storytelling, if it wraps up all these crazy plots in a nice, neat little bow, and if it makes me excited for whatever is next in this series. So if you've been enjoying my coverage, I appreciate it, but as always, I'm going to recommend that you guys go check out this stuff for yourself, and if you haven't already, be sure to go pick up the milestone 75th issue before we cover it here on the channel, so you are caught up and you can be a part of this conversation, because I'm very interested to see what other people think if they've read it for themselves. But yeah, I will save all of my thoughts after we ramble on about issue 75. That's gonna do it for today, but I'll be back tomorrow to continue the Sonic Rider saga. Before we go, I have to shout out my amazing patrons who help support the channel, with an extra special shout out to these fine folks here: SonicBot, Cho, Henshin, Tenric, Terror, KB, Naburnyard, Siegfried Wilder, Salem Hollow, Thumavungus, Among Us, Humongous Bongos, the RSI, Gob, MT Mecha, the world's most unironic 8.5 tail stand, Drabo06, Daza S, Penn Adelaide. Of course, we're still here for this turtle boy. We're Sonic fans. Refusing to let go of old things is kind of our entire shtick. Spearmint, Kaido Prower, the Lex, the most powerful ship in the two universes, Neil Gampa, Conan Kudo, Alexander Watson, Gleam the Anomaly, Makuta of Salt, Godzilla, Roxas the Cat, Crimson Rose, Did You Know This Entire Video Was AI Generated, Twilord, Banui, Sindarin 7, Paxton Bisbee, Then 101, Ken K, Xerxes the Renegade Jin, Grayson Conager, Enerjack 5, Trash Baphomet, David 19 Covers, Ledric, Wayne is Boss, Lenny X, Graham J Hall, 3 Monic, Stefan Plakanica, The Dark Neon, Cecil the Glade, Mr. SP, Chad, Clover Chats, Jonathan Dobbs, The Bad Pal, Lucas Lipker, Fish Flop, Sam Webster, Singer J199, Miles the Prower, Quote, Resident Fanboy, Bo Bennings, Meekers, Tristan Trapp, Jack of All Spades, Ginger Bob, Tiny Jericho, Hatsworth, Trey Trey Nobles, Josh Strider, Joseph Duncan Sonic 2 Blue, Cirrus the Skeptic, and Kyle Winter. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and for real, thank you guys so much for the support. It always has and always will mean the world to me. I'll see you guys in the comments, and for anybody who hasn't read yet, please do not spoil the story for them. Alright, until next time, toot toot Sonic Warriors.